You will never be the same person you were before. It's impossible. Won't happen. And that's okay. And actually, it's not negative. So the way that we think of this loss, this grieving of something, you could take the time to grieve the old you if you liked the old you and found like, wow, well, how did I lose that life? Sure, there is a grieving process to that. But then there's also a process to embrace that look what you could have now, right? What can you be now? Who can you reinvent yourself as? What
Yeah.
more have you learned? And that doesn't always have to come with some terminal illness or health issue. Can happen with anything in
Yeah.
life, just as you're talking about, even alcoholism, drug
Oh my
addiction,
gosh.
any of it.
Totally.
You
Yep.
become someone else. If you can come out of the other side, you will be a different person. And that isn't negative. It's actually can be a positive if you run it that way, right? If you begin to rewrite in your mind
Yep.
and that's your story, that it's great. And that's the road that I took. But identity losses is a huge thing. And what does that mean? And from a lot of different standpoints, it can be identity loss physically, and for people that have um, cancers, breast cancer specifically, when you have to remove your breasts and have a mastectomy and your uterus and a hysterectomy. I mean, physically, you are a different person. And it takes some time to heal, to recognize or to look at yourself physically and recognize you, right? Then there's the emotional part of you. Then there's the spiritual part of you. And then depending on the financial part, because financially, it's expensive to have health illnesses in our country. So there's a lot of angles where identity changes, and again, it can be for the positive, um, and you can also you can. This I think is a very important point too that I talk about is you can still have gratitude and have a positive mindset while you are grieving and the loss of your old identity. It is possible to have grief and gratitude at the same time. It sounds weird, but it's totally they can live together and they can coexist because one of them will dissipate eventually and hopefully it's the grief.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of times people are so like, how can I hurry up and not feel uncomfortable? Like we talked about in the last almost 7 years ago. It's like, I was just thinking about this today too. When I was driving my son home from the lab, and I was just sort of like, we're so conditioned now in our culture, especially this, instant gratification culture, is not to be uncomfortable. Oh no, I have to wait for this thing. I have to this, I have to that. And so it's like we're starting to, especially the younger generation, it's just like, what do you mean? I have to put a little more extra effort in and wait and watch the plant grow. I just want to stick a thing in the lab and have instant food or whatever it might be, like, and everything's, just instant. And it's like taking time to have a grieving process of that loss of identity and of that transformation that we go through it sucks because you want to be done with it. Like you want to just be like, well, can't I just grieve today and just and be done? And it's like it might take, a year. It might take a day. It might take 10 years. It might go away and then it resurfaces later because somebody shook up the snow globe and all of a sudden it re-triggers something from the past. It's like being, at ease with knowing that's like it can come up at any time, like loss, even though you go through this process. It's not like well, I checked the boxes. I'm good. I'm healed now. Or, it's like, wouldn't that be nice if I got my checklist? Like I could do something like that. It doesn't.
It is. It's fascinating that you say that. Especially in the world of cancer. A lot of times, what will happen is a patient receives a clean bill of health at the moment. Right? They can ring a bell. They're done with the chemo or their treatments at the time, and they're said to be okay in that moment. There's always the worry. There's always the PTSD. It'll come back.
Yeah.
Um, and so there is the part of the diagnosis and being a patient in treatment to maybe getting to the point where you are no evidence detected and now you're living after cancer and how are you living? So it's like living with it, living without it. There are it doesn't really go away from any cancer patient I think you talk to. It can become where you don't think about it as much, right? It doesn't become year if you're clean and it's been years and years and years out, yeah, chances are you've been able to move forward, live a life, enjoy things in a way that maybe when you were living with cancer you couldn't. Um, but there is still always there is kind of this period, right, when you first survive. Some people like to use thrive. Um, that you begin to kind of any sniffle, anything that happens is a cancer's back. The cancer is back. This happens with everyone I interviewed. Was like terrified at any moment
Yeah.
it's returned.
Yeah.
Um,
PTSD.
Yeah, it is. It's PTSD. I remember going, "But isn't that just for veterans?" Like, I didn't realize, like, hey, that'd be for healthcare people, but it is. I know. I live it. I still have those fears, you know?
I I imagine I remember, you were telling me was it every 90 days you had to get rechecked,
Mhm, yeah,
and so it's
past
just like, I
90
gotta
days, but yes.
that energy leading up to those tests for anybody listening, I mean, I can imagine it's like, okay, it's just anxiety inducing, like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? It's like, how do you live your life, in a place of presence, which is obviously even without cancer, being a mother and trying to be present with your children is so difficult, especially when they're young, because it's all over. And if you're a working mom outside of the house, and working in the house is just as hard as working out of the house, let me tell you. And it's they're both hard. And so you're constantly in octopus mode, right? And trying to be present. And then now you've got this whole other thing that it's like, oh my gosh. And so what advice would you share with anybody who's might be going through this, who's listening, to help them ease through the cycles of, the test, the retest, is it out? Is it in? Is it, where am I? Like how do people stay grounded in a place of presence and faith?
That's a great, question. I think what I have found is practice. Some days you're gonna be killing it, right? You'll be able to do that. On Monday, you'll be like, "Wow, I caught myself in a moment and I pulled myself out and I'm there. I'm present. It wasn't as difficult today." Tuesday could roll around and you could suck and everything that you thought you learned out the window, right? And you're buried away and, "Oh, what happened? I thought it was," um, and that's okay. That's actually part of it. Like, part of healing in general, I say healing isn't linear, doesn't come in every pretty package. You're going to go from A to B to C. Sometimes you can go A to R and then all the way back to B and starting again.
Yeah.
That, that's the journey. It's a journey, right? There's really not a destination in healing. And I think that's the misconception. You feel like I'm healed, I'm fixed, I'm there. Okay, what's next?